Welcome to the DeFi Standard. This is Mickey B. Fresh. And we just got some exciting news. Stellar's XLM was just added to the Flare network as the fourth FAsset after XRP, Litecoin, Dogecoin, and now we have XLM. So now we have four FAssets coming to the Flare network before the launch. We don't know if there's going to be any additional added before the launch in May or June. Now, the reason why these assets have been added prior is the creators of the Flare network, Flare Limited, has been able to unilaterally make these decisions as the creators. And that is their right to do that, to prepare the network for the best possible success. But once Flare Network goes live, it will be completely up to the governance of the Flare Network, which is the Spark owners, to decide which future FAssets are added. And that's very important to understand. So the Flare Network doesn't need permission from Stellar or DOGE blockchain or Bitcoin's blockchain to be added as an FAsset. It's up to us as the Spark owners of what FAssets are added. So now with XLM being brought over, it is a very simple integration because XRP Ledger, being the sister brother network of XLM, it was already integrated. So that's a very simple integration now into XLM. And the same goes for in the future with Bitcoin, because Litecoin was already integrated. So it makes it very simple to do that Bitcoin integration when the time comes, since it was already done on Litecoin. By adding XLM, we have a whole nother community right now. So Flare Network is growing massively. We have now 4 communities coming together and hundreds of billions of dollars in value that potentially could come over to the Flare Network. Now, anyone who owns any of these assets, they could mint them as FAssets. You do not need to use your Spark to mint FAssets. You pay a small fee, and then you bring them over as FXLM, for example, with XLM. Now that gives them the superpowers of the Flare network. Now they will also earn daily yield from the general rewards pool. So now out of that general rewards pool, you have XLM, XRP, and DOGE. And then out of Litecoin has its own unique pool because it was second that the daily rewards come from. Now you will earn those Spark daily rewards. Think of it as a daily airdrop. So there will be no airdrops for any of these other assets, Doge, Litecoin, or Stellar. So let me just repeat that. There will be no additional airdrop. Only the XRP owners got the original airdrop that will come when the Flare network goes live. But all these other assets are going to have the ability to earn daily airdrops just for minting FAssets and bringing them onto the Flare network. And now, in the beginning, it's going to be a very high yielding amount because the network is incentivizing the owners of these assets to bring them onto Flare. Now, they get their superpowers, as in they get the full smart contract capabilities of the Flare network. And now let's go over here to we're going to go to the Twitter of the Flare network. And they actually retweeted my tweet, which was very nice of them. So I said the Flare network FAssets are expanded. So we welcome the XLM community to Flare networks, which is growing stronger and stronger. So now we are 4 communities strong. And this, hopefully, we could minimize the tribalism and come together as one. And that's really what Flare networks is built for, is to bring communities together and end the tribalism that has gone on in the crypto space for basically its inception. So there was also something else, and it also does help with the decentralization. So this is important here, that as these other assets are added, the validators from those assets, from those blockchains, will run validators on the Flare networks. So each FAsset blockchain will have a UNL that connects its native chain to the Flare networks. So now this basically bootstraps decentralization for the Flare network right out of the gate. And that's something that is extremely hard to do when new networks are launched, getting them to be decentralized. With Flare, it's going to come out of the gate decentralized, and the asset's going to be distributed widely because it was airdropped to all of the XRP holders. There's been many questions I've gotten about the Flare wallet and how are we going to be able to participate and actually earn those daily Spark rewards for minting our FAssets. And Toho Labs is a Ripple-funded project that is building secure wallet and decentralized applications for public blockchain infrastructure. So they'll be providing the Flare interface that will allow the integration for multiple different wallets. So if you have different hardware wallets like the Nano Ledger, for example, Decent, LEPAL, they'll have an app integration that will allow you to then interact with the Flare network. But that has not been released yet. Now, Toho Labs is also going to be an Oracle signal provider, and they also going to build these applications that are going to interact with the XRP ledger, Doge, Litecoin, Stellar, and then Flare network. And they also, firmware is what they built for those hardware wallets. So you're going to be able to still hold your private keys in the hardware wallets and still participate. And that's a pretty big value proposition because you won't be sacrificing any real security. So you can still have your self-custody aspect, and then that will connect to a mobile application here for secure crypto custody. And that really is the, I think, future formula here, where you have your secure private keys on hardware wallets, but then you have that ability to use a mobile application. Since we have our phones on us all day, unlike a web browser, which there'll probably be an option too. It's just nice to know that we'll have the mobile application options. So they also are part of the XRP toolkit, which is a web interface, which will allow you then to interact with the XRP ledger's decentralized exchange, trust lines, escrows, and accounts. And they're running their node in a nuclear bunker in Stockholm, Sweden. So that's really interesting. So I don't think it gets really much more secure than that. So they'll be running validators on the XRP ledger, on Flare, on Litecoin, on Dogecoin, and now on Stellar as well. And this is really adding to the decentralization as we get more and more infrastructure providers building validators for the whole Flare Networks ecosystem. And now we're going to go over to this tweet from the Flare Network. And I know this was a confusing tweet, so I want to explain this a little bit. So Flare says, Federated Byzantine Agreement UNL networks have been criticized for having their default validators self-selected by their respective foundations. Flare innovates on the FBA UNL structure by incorporating miners from all FAsset chains to also be validators on Flare. So to break this down, what this means is the UNLs, there's going to be a list of validators that will be on both Flare and all these other blockchains. And then they will overlap with each other. And then you'll have Avalanche Consensus on top. So there's no mining on the Flare network. Just to clear that up, there's no mining going on. But those miners that run nodes on those FAssets native blockchains will also run validators now on the Flare network. So this is really the idea of bootstrapping decentralization. And you don't need proof of stake to secure the value. And that is one of the biggest things, and I'm going to keep bringing it up, by not having to use Spark tokens to secure the network. It allows the Flare time series oracle to generate rewards for providing accurate price feeds. And then all Spark holders are able to earn those rewards at no risk to their tokens. So this is something that Flare's been really trying to get across. And I know it's a very difficult thing to understand how it works. But I guess the bottom line to say is it's decentralized out of the gate. Now with XLM coming on, we're going to get a huge rush of community that hasn't had the ability to use smart contracts. So these networks, they've been not able to build apps on them that use smart contracts, especially with DeFi. So now all this value that is coming on to Flare when it goes live is going to be massive. And another important thing to note here, the FAssets are going to be able to use in Flare Finance DeFi protocols too. Also, the FAssets will be able to come over to the XRP ledger and trade on the XRP ledger's DEX. And they'll also be on Flare X, which is basically the DEX for the Flare Finance DeFi ecosystem, which will allow you to swap in between assets. So you're going to be able to go from this FAsset to that FAsset to Spark to YFlare to FXRP. So all of that's going to easily be able to be done from your non-custodial wallet. Now, with the Flare network coming up live in a matter of 2 months to 3 months, we're not sure on the date yet. It's going to be May or June. Myself and our team at the DeFi Standard have been working on strategizing on how best to formulate strategies on your risk profile and how to earn the maximum profits from the yield of the FTSO for your Spark and also for your FAssets. So if you're interested in learning more about that and understanding how to devise a strategy for yourself based on your risk profile, you're welcome to join our Patreon group. We'll be doing weekly and monthly Zoom calls, and we will have a formula that will help everyone understand how they could maximize their profitability at their risk profile. And everyone has a different risk profile. And we're going to try and help everyone get a strategy that will help them understand how to maximize it for their situations. And we all have different situations. Now, that's not financial advice. We're just going to try to explain how you can earn yield at this risk profile based on your situation. And I think that's very important because we don't have all the details of exactly how you're going to be able to delegate or in your wallet or how you're going to receive those airdropped rewards every day. But we're soon going to have that. But it's important to understand how it operates and how it works and how much you expect to make and how do you compound your yield and how does the capital appreciation get affected by that. So I think we should be reaching out to the other communities and be bringing them in because it's not just the XRP community. So I'll post a link for the Patreon group below. We have a Telegram group at the moment. We'll be moving to Discord, and we'll be doing those Zoom calls on a weekly and monthly basis based on our calculated formula that PattyXRP is working on. He also wrote an amazing blog on the FAssets, and I'm going to post that in the link below. It's got some diagrams in it, and it is very well written, and it provides a ton of information for yourself and that you could share with others in the community to help understand the Flare network. I also like to thank DAI, thanks for the shout out today, and Brad Kimes. I very much appreciate that. I've spent hundreds of hours researching Flare network, even before it went live, and asking Hugo many questions, and basically this is my full-time job. So I'm Mickey B. Fresh, and I'm out.